Max, could you describe the mood around the playing group, sitting pretty at the top at the moment?
Hey, Drew. The mood is what you probably expect for a team that's 11-1, but still wanting to gain respect throughout the competition. We're only beating teams that beat us last year. Brisbane got us by a couple of points up there at Metricon last year, and we wanted to get them back this year, and that's what we did. So we got Collingwood, Queen's Birthday, which is a game that we always look forward to, and we've had some really good battles, almost not really caring where the position on the ladder is every year we play Collingwood. Those games are big no matter what, and we've had some upsets and we've been at the bottom and they've been at the top and the other way around. So you can't take 11-1 into every game. You almost got to go in there with a new mindset, and that's what we will for Collingwood.
Big phrase at the SCG will be a little bit different.
Yeah, just that one letter, different. Still with the G, you could almost say. No, look, it is obviously disappointing that we can't get the big crowd at the MCG for everything that the big freeze is. Not only is it a blockbuster game, it's also raising much needed awareness for the MND disease and what Neil does for that. We've got a great relationship, myself and Neil and the football club as well, and we'd love to be able to play that game in front of a full crowd and watch the big freeze at before the game or half time. I think it's before the game these days. Used to be at half time, but we'll be at the SCG and we're still expecting a big crowd. We know we got a good Melbourne following up there, and to be honest, the game was spotless. That last quarter was one of the louder games I've been involved in. The Melbourne fans really were up and about there late. So hopefully Collingwood fans and Melbourne fans get to the SCG and everyone wearing these blue beanies and supporting a great cause.
Maxie, what does the week look like? Obviously, being a Monday game, your session today just looked like some top-up running. Can you give us a run-through of what it looks like this week?
It wasn't much today. Today was the basic sort of flush run setup. So anyone that's corky-free or injury-free gets out there for a little trot, and tomorrow we'll train down at Casey. And then day off and then train down at Casey again on Friday. And then at some point we'll go to Sydney, I suppose. We haven't really been filled in on what that looks like this week, with so much probably going to change from a government point of view. There's almost no point looking that far ahead, but all we know is we're training Wednesday and Friday down at Casey, and there'll be two really good big sessions leading into, because this is our first sort of 10-day break. We've had a few short breaks, so yeah, we were able to get two sessions in. It'll be good.
Jack Viney was doing a fair bit out there, but Goody said last week he'd only come back after the bye. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. There was talk that he was a chance this week, but I think it's already been pushed back to post-bye. So, I can't wait for him to come back. He's calling himself the new Clark Keating. Just going to be right for the end of the year, but hopefully we can get him back a little bit earlier.
Max, you spoke about the schedule this week. Obviously, a lot of Victorian clubs aren't actually in Victoria at the moment. Are you happy being in Melbourne? Is it kind of better being at home, do you think, than away?
I'm happy to do whatever I have to do to keep the competition going. It is beneficial us being home at the moment, because we do have a few guys that are expecting a kid soon, and mine's not till the end of the year, but apparently at around 20 to 30 weeks, all the husband has to do is be present. So I'm ticking that off at the moment, which is good. It is handy being at home, but we're more than happy to pack up and play a few games away if we have to as well, to keep the season going.
Max, the rise of Luke Jackson has been one of the stories of the year for you boys. Can you give us a bit of a comment on Luke, but also his next area of growth?
Luke has slotted in really well into our team. I don't know many 19-year-old rucks that have had as much of an impact as him. Probably Brodie Grundy, actually, came onto the scene pretty quickly as an 18, 19-year-old. I couldn't imagine myself playing this sort of football when I was his age, and he's got a long way to go in terms of some of his development, but you can see what he brings. He brings that athleticism and his follow-up, and being able to get the ball going forward for us. And to his own admission, he probably wants to clunk a few more up forward and kick a few more goals, but he's bringing the ball to ground for Cozzy Pickett to be able to do his job as well. So he'll get better at his ruck craft, better at his marking. That'll come with a few more games, a bit of training with me and Greg Stafford, and hopefully a bit of age as well.
And in regards to Collingwood this weekend, does your ruck split kind of change at all dependent on if Brodie Grundy does get up? You guys have had some awesome battles in the past. But if it is Max Lynch, does that kind of allow you to go forward a bit more?
I don't think much will change, to be honest. Jacko and I have got a pretty good relationship in how we switch, and it's not really written down. It's sort of a feel on the game at different times. And to be honest, Luke would probably be a really good matchup at times for Brodie, as would I at times. So you sort of got to get a read on the game, and and I mean, sometimes I'm cooked and need him in there, sometimes he's cooked and need me in there, so it changes. And I think that's what most teams that have that double ruck option do, have a bit more flexibility rather than a strict sort of time in when you need people on and people off. But it's much easier having him in the team. I do like him in there. That 1 week that he wasn't there, I'd certainly notice it.
I think Grundy's sort of a bit touch and go. The neck was 2 to 3 weeks. Would you prefer that Grundy plays, Max?
Yeah, I love playing Brodie. We've had some great matchups, and I love playing the best, and he's certainly up there as one of the best. Him along with Nick Nat, who I've got in a few weeks as well. So I'd love him to play. We have a good little chat out there in the game, and I think we're 6 or 7 games into our battle, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more to come. But now we've both got little apprentices as well, with Darcy Cameron and Luke Jackson both playing a fair bit of ruck time. So it's a little bit different to our old battles early on, but I don't know where he's at, but I hope he does play.
Hey Max, you mentioned the 10-day break going into this game. You've got Monday game, but then a bye, so you play like one game in 20-odd days. I mean, how do you keep the momentum going after, a couple of massive weeks, massive wins? Obviously, you'll relish the rest the body, etc., but given the season's going so well, how do you keep that momentum going? Will you do anything, within the group or to keep it all going?
It's a bit different to last year. Last year we had 5 games in 20 days. This year we're going to have 1. So it's slightly more different. But the bye can be a mystery at times. Burjo will certainly set out something for us to do. And this first break is fine. This 10-day break is fine. You come across some 9-day, 10-day breaks throughout the season, and we always have that around Queen's birthday as well, because we always play that Monday game. But so we'll know how to manage that. It'll be the one afterwards. Teams can struggle against bye. I think didn't Geelong lose something like 10 in a row post the bye. Teams can struggle post the bye, and Burjo will give us something to do, no doubt. You'd never know, our bye could be moved forward with whatever's happening in Victoria, so we can't really look that far ahead. But I'm sure I won't have my feet on the couch for too long. I reckon I'll be up and about by day 2 or 3 of that bye.
What about losing sort of the on-field momentum, though? I guess you can't do anything to address it, or so how do you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly want to try and keep our momentum going as much as possible. It'd almost be a chance to reset. I know we reset a lot, and we never look at a game going into it, for example, this week as 11-1. It'll be the end of a 3-week patch for us, so we're 2 out of 3. We had our 2 Friday night games, and this is the 3rd blockbuster heading into a bye. And that's more how we look at it. So I'm sure we'll come up with something during that bye where we'll be almost back to 0-0, looking into those last sort of 10 games of the year. I'm pretty sure that'll be the mindset.
Max, obviously, ultimate success is determined later in the year. But from your perspective, how much satisfaction are you deriving for seeing this group grow and mature? And even a game like last weekend where you come from 20 points down at halftime, something that you may not have been able to do it in previous seasons.
You do get satisfaction when you see stuff that you've been working on for 3 or 4 years come out, obviously out onto the ground. And I've talked about this during the week, but Troy Chaplin's been almost barking at the same thing for the last 4 years defensively, and it's just starting to finally click now. And seeing that click and then seeing how we can keep that going certainly makes coming to the club a little bit easier Monday to Friday. But there's certainly this, there's definitely not resting on our laurels. There's this unrest about every game that we got to go out and be the hunters, because you never know when the competition can flip on its head, and we've got to make sure we're at the top of our game at all times. So there is pleasure watching things come to fruition from things you've been working on for a long time, but you've got to stay on top of your game in this competition.
Maxi, just one on the forward setup. I suppose, how have you seen Sam Wiedemann's last few weeks, and would you expect that Ben Brown might get another crack at it to really nail down, I suppose, what that best forward line looks like?
To me, what it looks like is the 3 tall forwards is something that we're going to go with all year. Just the personnel might change at different times depending on form, injuries and whatnot. So obviously Tom's playing some really, really good football and Luke is doing a really good role as well. Sam's come in and played the role that we want him to play. Yes, he probably wants to mark a few more and kick a few more goals, but he's ticking off his role as a 3rd tall forward. But so did Ben, and so did Mitch Brown, and so did Majak Daw. We've actually got 2 guys doing it in VFL, and Mitch Brown was awfully close this week. He travelled with us up into Sydney, and Majak actually hit 5 best on grounds in a row in the first 5 games of VFL footy. So there's amazing form in and around those tall forwards. I do think we'll go with 3 talls for the rest of the year. I mean, Goody could change that next week, but my gut feel is we'll go with 3 talls, and I'm really happy with what Sam's bringing. I was happy with what Ben brought, and I'm also happy with what the other 2 are bringing as well.
Last couple guys.
Max, the midfield has been elite under your tutelage, and Harmsy kind of coming into that mix has been awesome for you guys. How does it change with Jack Viney due back, possibly after the bye, but maybe even this weekend?
What was that word, Jasper? Tutelage?
Yeah.
Never heard of that. Midfield is starting to gel. We're still getting beaten at centre bounce clearances every sort of second week, so it's something we do want to touch and get it cleaned up. But yeah, Jack will obviously will come in. He's a tremendous player and was having a tremendous season up until his injury. But the good thing is we've been able to flick a few people around there. It hasn't just been Christian and Clayton who have been there in every centre bounce. Obviously James Harms, Jake Melksham, James Jordan, Tom Sparrow we saw this week. So we're able to flick people around, and we've got a couple of half forward spots there that tend to have a midfielder in and around that spot as well. So I'm sure we'll be able to do it. We haven't had Harmsy, Track, Clayton and Jack all fit, I don't think, to be able to play in the same team. So it will be a first when it does happen, but it's not happening this week, so it's not something I'm really looking into.
Maxie, has Ed Langdon, is he all clear with his concussion symptoms?
Yeah, I saw him today. He looks ready to go. I think he'll train with us tomorrow, and then obviously the Friday, and then hopefully come up to Sydney.